Nick doing a walkthrough of the store project demo program. Let's first run the program. So I'm using this environment called Replit. You can use any environment to test your Java code. So when this program runs here in the console output screen, I'm allowed to enter number of books. I'm just going to keep it simple and type 1, hit the enter key on my keyboard, and the feedback from this demo program is that I owe $10.5999. How ugly. It's not rounded. I think in this assignment you have to round. Anyway, let's trace the code. I'm going to shrink up all the methods in this demo program here because this is a program, but it has 3 methods inside of it. Now, they're all inside the class. So like Hello World on the first day of this school year, here the name of this class is main. That's the rule at Replit World, OL. Main is a perfectly good name for a class in this situation. But most important thing is that inside of the main class with a capital M, we have a main method that, we just memorized on day 1 of the school year. Public static void main string args, you just got to memorize that. Inside of the main method is where the code that executes lives. So instead of having system out print hello world, we have all this. So let's begin our walkthrough. Let's trace it. This first line of code is not tested on the AP exam in case you ever have to take that. It's just evil necessity, I call it. I have this variable called keyboard. I could have named it anything I wanted, but keyboard standard. Instead of being an int or a double or a string, it's a scanner. Don't worry about that, it's not on the AP exam. But instead of setting it equal to 0, you set it equal to new scanner system in. And all that means is that user input can be read or accepted into the computer program. It's called reading data, reading input. So this 1 that I typed previously is being inputted into the core here, into the computer program so it can process it. Okay, so now that that's over with, this keyboard variable, now we can get to the things that are covered on the AP exam. Here are a bunch of variable declaration statements. And you know what? In this demo program, we should have good style and do something like this. We should add the 5th step of the programming process, documentation, variable declarations. They usually go at the top of a method like this main method. So some are doubles and some are, well, they're all double data types. And they all have nice hearty names, not like X and Y. They have nice meaningful names and they have nice little short but English spelled correctly explanatory inline comments that explain their purpose. So there's no excuse for somebody not understanding what each variable's purpose is in this program. Notice these 2. They're in uppercase letters, book price and tax rate, and they have the word final there. That means they're constants. You know what? I'm going to make this program even better by announcing to the world that this section right below here are constant declarations and not just variable declarations. Book price is not allowed to vary. Tax amount might vary and change with the day or the week, but book price, it's going to be constant, always 10.0. And tax rate, it's always 0.05999. And that might be the tax rate in Pennsylvania, I'm not sure. Just pretend that it's the tax rate. So the word final means that this cannot change anywhere in the program. The uppercase is a style thing, but the word final is what makes it so it's unchangeable. Okay, now the main part of the program right here. We first typically, if relevant, we get the user's input. Oh, but before that, I'm displaying the store title. So guess what? I'm moving that to another area that I'm going to document, and I'm going to upgrade this program and call that something like setting up the screen, maybe setting up the screen or the display. So display store total. What the heck does it do? Oh, that's the name of another method. If you scroll down, that's the name of a method that I optionally typed out here below the main method. And inside of display store title, public static void display store title, are 3 system out prints. Oh, see that like little output there, Wyomart? That's there because of this. because of this call statement that calls this method and executes that code. Then you come back up here, and then you're released and able to run the rest of the program. So watch when I comment out temporarily display that call statement. I run the program and there's no hello WyoMart. Interesting. But the code's still there, system out print. But you're not calling it. It's like Domino's. It's the building Domino's, but you didn't call it. So you don't get a pizza. There's no pizza over here. Oh, what if I would call it twice? Interesting. What if I copy and paste this call statement and call it twice like that and run the program? What? Error message. Oh, look, I spelled it wrong. Duh. You can't do that. You got to spell it correctly. The name of the method that's typed out here must be exactly the same there, including like uppercase letters. Now that I'm calling it twice, we see two WyoMart signs. Not that that's like wise, but you can call it more than once. And I could even put that in a loop and make it happen like 100,000 times. I don't want that, so I just call it one time. This is good style to put your system out prints in this situation down in a method that can be placed way down there out of this area so it's not distracting. And now we are finished with understanding display store title. And now let's look at this chunk of code here. This is the area of the code where it allows us to input a number and hit the enter key. When I type 1 and hit the enter key, the number 1 is being processed and read into the computer right there, and it's being plugged into the variable quantity. So later on, when I take quantity times book price, it's going to be whatever number it's typed in there. Now this keyboard.next double is not something that you have to worry about on the AP exam. It has to do with this thing called scanner. I have lecture notes for this, but you need it. And by using next double, I'm allowed to type in decimal numbers. Watch this. I'm going to run the program and be a radical here. I'm going to order 1.5 books instead of a whole book. And it works. Not that that's logical or anything, but I could have done next int. And there's a next int method in the scanner class that would only accept whole numbers now. Read about that in the notes. Now if I try to type 1.5, it's going to give me all kinds of runtime errors because I wasn't allowed to type in this 0.5 because I was using next int. I'm going to change this back to next double so that it's like the original version of this demo program. So now that quantity has some number stored in it, this is just an evil necessity. It gets rid of a hidden \n in the keyboard buffer so that when somebody runs this program yet again and they type 1, the press of the enter key that I'm pressing right now is still in there, and it's going to mess up the logic, the mathematical logic of this program if we don't add line 30. Just trust me, you need that there. Okay, I'm fast forwarding so that some people can go to their iTest and take the quiz tomorrow. That's going to be on their plate. But this is just straight old forward mathematical, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, order of operations. I'm multiplying 1 times book price, which is 10, storing that in the variable subtotal. Oh, then I'm passing subtotal and tax rate as 2 different parameters, they're called. So whatever number is there, plugged in, and whatever number is there, they get passed down to this method called compute tax, which is right here. So yes, you can go to wherever you're going, people that are going somewhere, but take this worksheet with you and do the best you can. Hopefully you're not typing all the answers into Replit to check your work, but I guess I can't really stop you from that. On your way out, iTest person, get that from other iTest person. I still have 4 minutes of video left that everybody else is paying attention. So now that I've gotten to line number 34, subtotal, which is some number, perhaps it's like 10.599 or something. Tax rate, which I can see is 0.0599. Those 2 numbers are being passed as parameters, and they plug into they plug into the two parameter names that are in the header of the compute tax method, which I typed out down here in lines 51 through 54. So 10.599 plugs in for the variable named amount. It's really a parameter, not a variable. And 0.05999, in other words, book price, plugs in for tax rate. Not book price, I'm sorry. It's tax rate. Tax rate is the number that's being plugged into tax rate. So when this multiplication occurs here, it's really the two numbers up here. And whatever that simplifies to, even though there's no parentheses, it would execute first. The final number, that's some messy number I need a calculator for. That number, which is, by the way, a double, because of that use of the word double, this decimal number, double decimal number, gets returned. Where does it go back to? Where does it return? It returns back up to here, and it plugs in for this. I'm not sure what that number is. Let's just pretend it's like 10.555. And that number that got returned is now from right to left stored in the variable tax amount. Actually, it's going to be a small number. It's going to be like 0.555. And then that variable tax amount, which is equal to, say, 0.555, adds up to whatever subtotal is from up here. Could be like 10. And that total, 10 plus 0.555, that goes into the variable total cost, which, when this line of code executes, the total cost is concatenated to the right of the dollar sign. I'm going to edit undo 100 million times and check to see if this program still works after all my changes. I type 1 to keep it simple, hit the enter key, and after all of this method execution and other statements executing, total cost ends up being 10.599. Okay, there will be more explanations possibly later, but this is a nice little demo program that has a main method that in turn calls display store title as well as the method compute tax. Those two other methods are called by the main method. Have a great day.